Hi folks, this is your MWIS Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. There's lots more hot and sunny weather as we start this weekend, with the familiar exception of northwest Scotland. We do though have changes afoot as pressure begins to lower, and that brings an increasing likelihood of thunderstorms developing. Quite hit and miss at first, but many places will start to see these as we run into the start of next week. That will bring lowering temperatures as well, and a more mixed outlook as we go further into the longer range forecast. In the short term, high pressure is still nearby, centred toward the northeast. We have the first signs of change with lowering pressure around Biscay, that producing an easterly breeze across England and Wales. Fairly light winds overall though, and very little wind across most of Scotland. Some mist and fog patches first thing in the morning in some valleys, the central belt of Scotland most prone to that, and some coastal sea fret and har around some of the North Sea coasts. But the mountains, lots of sunshine and a very warm or hot day. Temperatures in many of the valleys into the upper 20s, 30 degrees Celsius or above, highest across England and Wales. Remnants of a front still trailing toward the northwest of Scotland, producing more in the way of cloud here again, and some rather misty conditions possible across many of the hills near to the northwest coast. A bit of patchy drizzle close to that northwest coast possible then, otherwise it is a dry story. The blue skies may be just being invaded a little bit by some high cloud building up from the south and the southwest, so just turning the visibility that little bit hazier with time, and an isolated chance of a shower cloud just forming out of that at some point, but most likely the day is a dry one across the country. That trend to destabilising conditions, though, will take us into Sunday, because as we do get a bit more humidity and thickening cloud layers, there is the risk of some showers and some thunderstorms breaking out. Initially on the model shown across Northern Ireland, as we head onwards through Sunday afternoon, a greater risk of some pretty well scattered isolated thundery downpours, mainly across the Highlands, a very remote risk elsewhere across England and Wales. But later in the day, across Scotland, that risk of some thunderstorms being around is one to watch. There's the chart for Sunday, and not too much to see really. A general zone of lowering pressure moving up from the south. A very warm and humid day once more. We've got that high cloud just building, the remnants of a front toward the northwest of Scotland. Not too much wind around overall, and many of the mountains free of cloud, but just forming in patches where some of those showers do develop later on. Some mist and fog once more early in the day at low levels in places. That general zone of low pressure then is across the country on Monday, and this is where the atmosphere really starts to destabilise, and the threat of some thunderstorms breaking out becomes widespread as the day goes on. Now, what was left of some of Sunday afternoon and evening's thunderstorms may rumble around overnight and be there first thing on Monday morning across Scotland. The remnants of that front still close by in the northwest, producing a bit of a complication in that here there could be some patchy rain around. Aside from the risk of thunderstorms, that might just clear to lead to some better conditions near the west coast, but here some very gusty northerly winds could well develop. Away from that, the wind very light, and it will be a story of building up cloud as the day goes on, and particularly from sort of mid to late morning onwards through the afternoon and evening, those thunderstorms will form quite widely, very hit and miss in terms of where they develop, but where they form, some torrential rain, the risk of hail and frequent lightning. So do be aware of that change to the weather by this stage. Quite a complicated story then, and don't take the detail of the chart too literally at this stage, but the main message is still the risk of some areas of rain, heavy, torrential in places, and some further thunderstorms brewing up as well as we go onwards through the daytime. Hit and miss for some, other places could see some more prolonged heavy rain. It looks as though northern and eastern parts of Scotland could be in the firing line for that, again with some very gusty winds possible as north or northeasterlies. Temperatures just starting then to come down as we go onwards day by day. That area of low pressure is expected to drift eastwards out towards Scandinavia as we head into Wednesday, so fresher air is all following around across most areas from the north and northwest. The risk of some scattered heavy showers and possible thunderstorms in places, but an improving story as higher pressure just builds for a time with some sunshine and lower humidity. We then just look to the Atlantic for the next weather systems, the whole weather pattern just transitioning back to more of a westerly dominated regime. That does seem to be the general theme then going into the second half of the week. A brief ridge of higher pressure following the thundery low gives way to a more mobile Atlantic westerly regime with lower pressure to the northwest of Scotland, driving some frontal systems in from the west, and that bringing some rain or showers at times focused on more western mountains, northwestern parts across the Highlands, most likely to see rain more often. Further south and east, somewhat drier as higher pressure just starts to build a little bit across more southern regions at times. But it's going to be an uncertain story to get the day-by-day detail late in the week. It could be that an area of low pressure over the Atlantic does swing in a little bit further southwards heading for next weekend, but treat that with a lot of caution at this stage. But expect the outlook to be more mixed and changeable for all than we've been used to in recent weeks. Into the final third of August, it looks as though higher pressure would be located more to the east of us, the orange colours on this chart showing higher than average pressure patterns, and that's still influencing southeastern parts of England, keeping things still more often drier here. Average pressure patterns, basically indicated by the whiter colours, would affect the rest of Britain and Ireland, so allowing some changeable conditions to come in from the Atlantic at times, but maybe not deeply unsettled overall. So some fine days and some mixed days, I think, in the picture, with western mountains in Scotland seeing most in the way of rain. Do be aware of that thunderstorm risk then in the days ahead. Keep up to date with your local information on our website. That is your Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.